There's this number that really always sticks with me, and that's the happiness threshold as far as income that you need to make a year. And it's different for everybody, but typically past $75,000 a year, you don't get any happier. Good morning, Austin, and welcome to another episode of the Blended Sense Walk and Talk. I'm your host, co-founder, and COO, Albert Baez. Today we're walking in the beautiful Domain, aka the new downtown, north of Austin, filled with shopping centers, nightlife, and living space. And Mr. David Eagan, our special guest today, actually lives here in the Domain with Andre. And a little bit more about David Eagan. He is a seasoned entrepreneur. He is a data-driven entrepreneur. He's the head of U.S. markets for Verbo and an e-commerce expert. I'm really excited to have you today, David. Thank you for being with us.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me on the show.
I know, so excited. How's Andre been doing during all this craziness?
He's been good. When we started working from home, I think he was confused at first. He kept trying to get me to play, but now it's kind of business as usual.
Well, today the goal really is to leave people with a nugget of knowledge to apply to their business when it comes to data, when it comes to finances, and really want to dig deep into e-commerce and understand your perspective and what you see happening. But let's start with data. You know, people hear that. I know over the last 5-7 years, there's data scientists now all over the place. There's boot camps to train these people to become data scientists. And it's become an essential part of running any type of business. So tell us the perspective from your perspective on how data applies to business. How should an entrepreneur think about data when it comes to their business?
Yeah, I mean, data is definitely the hot topic right now. And there's so much data out there. I think it's easy to think, oh, we've got data, we're going to be successful now, but really that's just the start of it. You think back to like loyalty cards, like what was the purpose of those? That was really to collect data back in the day when people weren't doing things on the internet or with their apps. Now it's just easy. There's just probably too much data a lot of times. But that's really where you can start to gain insights to either treat your customers better, increase like the lifetime value of them, or uncover different things in your business that you didn't even know what was happening. But you might find cohorts of customers that are actually making more money than you even realized. You think about like something like Chewy.com, they're like huge on data. A lot of people say like, how can Chewy go up against Amazon? Because Amazon's like the king of e-commerce, right? Well, Chewy's doing it because they're super focused on one category, which is like pets, and then super focused on data. So they're always looking at like, how is their cohorts of new customers behaving? And that's what's allowed them to succeed. So one of the things that I like to do in my spare time is just look at public companies and how they're doing, and one of them is Chewy. And they're up 100% from IPO, which a lot of people didn't think because of the Amazon competition.
You know, one of the things I see all over the internet, Austin Startups Facebook group, in Slack, Capital Factory Slack, is people always looking for fractional CFOs, looking for finance help, bookkeeping, accounting. It's typically an area of expertise that most entrepreneurs don't really have, and I've learned in our with Blended Sense, it's like really important to understand when talking to investors or partners or anybody really that's going to come in and work with you.
I'd say like you need a finance person to basically make sure you're on track. But to me, the more important thing is the operations, like that someone's making sales and that the business is growing. I mean, you need somebody that's why they're fractional, right? They don't need to be there all the time. They basically need to make sure like you have a path to where you want to get to, and that's kind of like how we built up your models. Is like, this is where we are today. Like, let's think through if we want to be at 50,000 recurring revenue in a couple months, how many salespeople we're going to need, how much that's going to cost us, what's the cash flow situation look like, and then you need somebody that can also sort of sell it to investors is like, this is the model, this is how it's gonna work.
And so earlier I mentioned that you're a seasoned entrepreneur. Can you tell us some of the businesses that you've stood up, ran, and maybe even sold?
I met you from Republic of Soul, sunglass company. It's probably been stood up for 6 or 7 years now. It was an early Shopify company. Learned a lot just on like general e-commerce and how to do paid advertising online. Started to think about like different channel acquisition costs, conversion rates, all like kind of the basic concepts.
Yeah.
That one's still out there. I almost spend no time on there at this point, but that didn't happen like for my site overnight. That's like been out there for 7, 8 years now. Andre and I are actually trying to launch a new business. And this is a total play on SEO and content. What it is it's called bestdogvacations.com. I thought it'd be perfect intersect between like what I do on a day-to-day basis at Vrbo, like a vacation rental company. And from that data, I know about, somewhere between 5 and 10% of the trips in the US, people are bringing their dogs. So it's not like, I'm not going after every vacation, but like I'm going to a niche, right?
Yeah.
And the other thing I have is I have Andre and his brother that have a platform we have 11,000 followers on there. And so I'm kind of trying to merge these things together, right? And then I've hired some freelancers to just write blogs for me. And basically I want to get a guide for every big place in the US of like what to do with your dog. Like if you're going on vacation in Austin, what do you do with your dog? If you're going on vacation in Gulf Shores, Alabama, what do you do with your dog? And just build up all this content, which will become SEO. People will come to the site, and then hopefully the way it'll make money is by affiliate ads. So I have links back to Expedia, Vrbo, Airbnb. People click those, they book, I get a portion. But all that could be stood up within a matter of days, and then I'm building the content. I think the thing people that want to start something is they don't have to have everything solved when they're starting. I just kind of test and learn, and things get better over time.
Yeah. One thing that just stood out to me from what you just said is like you combined what you know at work, what you're doing all day long, and what you love, right? Which is Andre and his life and everything that comes with it. And people today have, I would say, an advice to anyone starting an e-commerce shop or any type of digital business is stick to what you know and love, right? And that's okay, right? I think there's this number that really always sticks with me, and that's the happiness threshold as far as income that you need to make a year. And it's different for everybody, but typically past $75,000 a year, you don't get any happier. So what that tells me is today with e-commerce is a real opportunity to grab a niche. Grab a little slice of the pie for yourself, right? And if you can come home with $75,000 clean income from your e-commerce site, you're in really good shape. You're doing what you love, right? You're running your own business. You have no boss, right? So there's such cool opportunity with that. Amazing. Awesome. Well, let's close out with this. We've got the holidays coming up. We talk about e-commerce. We know it's blowing up right now. Everyone's excited about e-commerce. Everyone's shopping. People that had never, me personally, I just shopped online for the first time last week. I told you this. I know, it's crazy. I've never ever shopped online. I don't have any user accounts and anything. I just did it for the first time last week, and the numbers say that the likeliness of me shopping online now are really, really high, like for everything. It was a great experience. It was so good, and I'm like this, waiting for it in the mail now, and it's so exciting. But talk to us about what's coming up for e-commerce. I mean, 2020 is still only halfway there. We've got all the holidays coming up. What are you most excited about with the future of e-commerce?
I mentioned how I like to look at what's happening in the stock market. Shopify had earnings this morning, and they said that they grew their total addressable market by 50% over the last quarter. And that's just gonna keep happening. And we kind of touched on how easy it is to start a business. So when people get laid off, they don't have jobs, people are going on Shopify and starting new companies, right? And part of the reason I'm so excited about what you guys are doing here is that like Shopify makes it so easy to do so many parts of the business For instance, like for the new site we're doing, I want to have a referral program basically, and at Vrbo or Expedia, if we wanted to stand up a referral program, I need coders, I need engineers, product managers, I need all these people, right? Probably going to cost $500,000 to $1 million to develop this whole thing out. On Shopify, I can click a button. I have a program. That's it. But what they don't have is there's no button to click to get a bunch of content for my products, right? And that's where you guys come in. I can have a site, but unless I have content like photos and videos and all kinds of good stuff, like I'm not gonna sell. It's not gonna convert.
Yeah. Consumer expectations up here now.
Yeah.
Consumers want the best experience, the easiest experience, the most engaging experience. And I think that's me personally, what I'm excited about e-commerce is I still, like you said, the 50% growth in addressable market in a couple months.
Yeah.
So there's so much room to grow.
Oh, yeah.
And I think the next layer of this, as it gets more and more saturated online, right, with all these different stores popping up, is like who sets themselves apart in their customer experience, right? Who's got original music that's catchy and you can remember it and it becomes part of the brand? Who, you know, all the things of customer experience. So I'm really, really excited to see the innovation. I'm pumped to be in the space. In our first board meeting, I don't think you were on that one, but we had 7 segments and CPG was one of them, and I was so against it. I was like, I don't know anything about it. You're throwing me in the deep end. Like, we're not gonna succeed. I'm gonna have to, you know, the big learning curve. But our CEO and my co-founders really just like held their ground and they said, no, this is the segment we need to go after. And I'm so happy looking back now, and I'm really excited to be in this e-commerce space. Awesome, David. Thank you so much for being with us today. Really appreciate you. Austin, Texas, David Eagan, head of US markets for Vrbo. Thank you for watching. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us at www.blendedsense.com. Looking forward to the next episode. Until next time, make sure to remember to walk and talk. Appreciate you, Austin, Texas. Have a great day.